Good morning everyone, it's Yvonne here to do What's Cracking reading. I'm going to try a different way of recording. You can let me know whether this is working. People are still complaining they can't hear, and I've tried 4 different ways now. So again, going back to rattling through, it's YouTube, but if you look over when people say, I can't hear you, if you look over, there are lots of people who can. So I'm not really sure what YouTube does to the videos. Work beautifully here when I'm listening to them. So I'm not sure what happens between there and uploading. Anyway, let's get into What's Cracking reading. First of all, thank you so much for your subscribing, your generous comments, and everything that you do for me. Thank you. I think that's all I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to get stuck straight into the reading, I think. Okay. All right, so we're going to start off with the Justice card. Now, interestingly enough, this card has been coming out a bit. There's been about maybe 4 or 5 different cards. I'm taping without a microphone today, so we'll see how this goes. The Justice card is a card that talks about putting the scales right. You know, whether you've sort of had something legal going on or whether this is a personal thing at the moment, it's about having everything equal, getting things back into balance. If it was a court case, it would mean, you know, that you were going to get a fair and just outcome. So whatever this is for you, the Justice card tells me that you're on track for some sort of good outcome. Look, we have the Ace of Swords next. The Ace of Swords is, for me, the most beautiful card in the deck. I often talk about standing in your truth or living in your truth. For many years, I didn't quite understand that because I think, oh, I am an honest person. You know, I do sort of speak up and talk about how I feel. But it took me a long time to understand what being in my truth really meant. And I have a lot of people who comment on that on my page and on my videos, that it's taken them many years, and some of them in 50s and 60s, before they really understand what living in your truth means. If you've led a very difficult childhood or a difficult life, sometimes you can get into things like people pleasing and keeping others above yourself, or not really considering your feelings first. And I thought that was normal. I spent a lot of years thinking that, you know, just giving in to other people was the way that you did things. But of course, as time goes by, you realize that's not the truth. So I feel like here there is a brand new beginning. For me, this is something that is coming as part of your path. So what I mean by that is, when I see the Justice card with the Ace of Swords, it's like the universe is saying to you now, you know, go forth, but be true to who you are. It takes a lot to really self-discover. It takes a lot of ripping back, you know, experiences and really seeing who you are. And a lot of that childhood work, which I found extremely valuable when I looked at myself as a child and then again as an adult, how different I'd become. Because as a child, we can be quite outspoken. We know how to have fun. We know how to talk to other people. We don't have those barriers or limitations that we do when we become an adult. And of course, the more you're taught in your childhood to not respect your own views or values, the more that works out for you as an adult, not being true to who you are. So I feel like here you're completing something because you've got a brand new beginning coming through here and a new direction to take. Now this is really interesting, this one, because, you know, sometimes we sort of get so, I almost want to say complacent in our lives, and we don't really look at opportunities that are there to lead us in a new direction. Maybe we've always denied moving in that direction and not really felt that we had the capacity or the learning or the experience or education to move towards that particular thing. But when I see the Two of Swords, I feel like it's time for you to, you know, take up that sword, do what you want to do, move in the direction you want to move in, and gain that experience or that connection back with yourself about where you want to go. Because sometimes we can get very, very stuck in an idea of or an image of who we are. And I've lost the brightness again. Oh goodness, sorry. And we forget who we are. All right, so I feel like here you're being given some sort of an opportunity to walk in a brand new direction. There's a completion of a cycle here. Now, I always say to people, you need to let go and trust. There seems to be, definitely movement forward, and definitely a time to really look at what makes you tick. What direction do I want to go in? What do I want to achieve in my lifetime? And I feel like you're doing a lot of that at the moment. All right. You know, sometimes you wake up and you think, oh, you know, if I'd have had my life again, I would have been a forensic scientist or a forensic pathologist. I love, and always have done, loved watching and reading books around those sort of subjects, you know, and I'm sure some of you can agree with me. I've always been fascinated by crime and, you know, and what creates people to hurt others, and that all fascinated me from very early. I was an Agatha Christie reader at like 10 years old. I couldn't get enough. And I can remember being so fascinated with all of those things. I feel like if I'd had my time again, that would definitely be what I would do. But sometimes I think, you know, even writing about those things, writing about the experiences of that would be enthralling. But it's still, for me, something that I feel that I've sort of missed my calling on that. We go in a different direction. We choose what we want to do. Do I love what I'm doing? Absolutely, 100%. But you can't help feeling that somehow along the way it would have been good to try something different. I still look at it now and think, can I commit to that time? But doing what I'm doing, you know, and living the life I want to live doesn't allow me a lot of time to think about, you know, a university degree. But I feel like here with this Five of Swords, there's definitely this feeling that you are walking away from something because it no longer satisfies that part of you that you long for. I want to say you yearn for something here. So I feel like at the moment, a lot of people, and I do talk to a lot of people who've got stuck in careers, you know, women especially, and this is no reflection on men because there obviously is men out there that do this, but up until this point, it has been very much a woman's role to nurture and care for children. Now, if it is a man I'm speaking to, then maybe you have been through the same experiences, but you're probably around about your mid to late 30s before you are able to let go of those duties around looking after your children. So for me, I filled that time with jobs that were really easy to do, that fitted in with my schedule, and I changed my life mid-30s when I got to that point, because I started to realize I really didn't have a career. And although I really liked what I was doing, I was going to outgrow it. So at that point, I was doing hospitality, and, you know, I was very comfortable, extremely popular doing that role, and I really enjoyed it. But I was working with like 18, 19-year-olds, and I kept thinking there is going to come a point in time where I'm going to feel too old for doing this. That's my thinking then. I may think differently now. And I remember looking for a career and going back and, you know, going and trying a couple of courses just because I wasn't very dedicated in high school. I was very rebellious, and I didn't really stick to what I needed to. So I didn't get a lot of high school done, but what I did get done, I done really well on. So I had to go back and do all that. And it was only through an Aboriginal friend of mine who said to me, you'd be really good in welfare. And I sort of asked a bit about that and went into a course, 2-year course, and became a youth worker. So that was where my journey started, really. And my changes doing that learning really brought about changes in me. So I'm not sure why you need to hear that story, but I'll move on now, because I feel like somebody's considering some sort of change. And perhaps 9 of Cups here. Queen of Wands again. She's been coming out every day. And I feel like you're being really implored to learn how to lead your life. Sometimes we get so embedded in what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, we forget who we are. The Queen of Wands doesn't. There's a wish coming true here, and then I have the Empress here. So I do feel here for many of you, this is about life-changing experiences. It is about looking at your life and deciding what you want to do. Maybe you've always wanted to be an actor. Maybe you have a really good singing voice. Maybe you always wanted to be a police person. I watched Australian police working in New York the other day, which I found very, very interesting, that these people had had a drive to work in the in the States as police people. Like, one of them was a woman who probably was in her mid-30s. So it's really intriguing that we're taught that we can't change our minds. You know, I work with a lot of people who've ended up in careers that they really don't find satisfying. You know, I had a woman not long ago who wanted to do healing work and was an electrician because that's what her family had pushed her into. So whatever this is, I feel like here there is a real, oh, nice energy. There is a real energy here of moving in a new direction. Look at that. There's whoever I'm speaking to here, you may be feeling really uninspired by your life where it is. That's nothing wrong with that. You can't look back at the past and go, I wished I'd done that differently, because the past was there to teach you what you needed to know. And you may not have got to that point without actually going through what you've gone through. So it's not about looking back at the past and having regrets and remorse. It's about looking at the future and wondering how you can fit those experiences into what you want to do. If you want to be an elephant trainer, go and do it. Don't hold back because you're worried about, you know, whether you're going to be successful or whether there's going to be a job out there for you. You can learn like me to fit it in amongst all the other things you're doing. I look back and think, how on earth did I manage to get, you know, qualifications with a young family as a single parent? But I did. We are incredible, incredible human beings who can achieve so much without really having to use much more than what we've already got. You know, I hear people say all the time, but I don't have enough experience at that, or I can't do that. And you know, you can relate every experience back to something you've done as a mother, a parent, a teacher to others, you know, even as a neighbor. How often do you sit down and speak to people who are really sad because, you know, they don't know which direction to move in, and you can offer them some options? You're a counselor. You are a natural healer. We all have the capacity for that, but we don't all have what it takes to take that to the next level. And I feel like this is what's happening here. I feel like for some of you, you may have been in, there's a lot of major arcana here, but you may have been in a situation that's been holding you back. So you could have been in a relationship that you've just separated, but you had a partner who wouldn't allow you to be what you wanted to be. You could have been in a relationship where you didn't have the room to involve yourself in what you wanted to involve yourself in. But whatever this is, I feel like with this Princess of Wands, and especially with this sort of energy here, the Five of Pentacles and the Sun, that you're changing that all around here. You're really moving into a time where you are starting to understand how to put yourself first. Beautiful reading. So a lot of major arcanas here. So we have the Justice card coming through. I feel that you are learning to understand your truth. Maybe your truth was always to be a doctor, but you never thought you had the capacity. It's dedication that really takes you there. So there's a decision being made here, and I feel like you're moving in a brand new direction. There's a closing out of the past here. There is something that maybe you've always thought you could do, but your emotions and your drive have not allowed you to get there. Whatever this is for you, it's such a beautiful reading, and it is opening you up to a whole new direction here. I feel like some of you have moved away from a situation here to give yourself You just feel to me like you're to a point in your life where you know it's really important to focus on yourself now. And I don't want to hear I'm too old for that, because that is really bad social conditioning. I watch people in other countries, you know, especially when I went to the States, people working in jobs way beyond what we've got. A real ageist attitude here. And I feel that's a bit sad, but anyway. All right, what have we got? Yeshi Tsogor. Let's have a look and see what this card is about. Card 33. In Australia yesterday, 5 lions escaped from the zoo. That's not a joke. And they did get them back. I think the lions were so happy. I don't think they were really worried about hurting anybody. But it was quite a cute story. All right. You shall overcome all obstacles. Success is imminent, so stay connected to your path no matter what and continue to apply yourself. Allow your spiritual path to support you in all areas of your life. Live by your spiritual beliefs. Seek out the support of your spiritual brothers and sisters for help when needed, but also trust that you are intimately and directly connected to the powerful divine light within. There can be a dramatic healing breakthrough when you rely upon your spiritual connection. Look, I don't know how Spirit does this for me, but I always get a card that resonates. Very rarely do I get a card that doesn't resonate. Let's have a look at this part. It says here, the Oracle of Yeshi Tsogor, 333, augurs empowerment and healing by assuming a confident attitude and taking steps forward. It indicates that a negative time is drawing to a close. That's why you've got the 10 of Swords there, and encourages commitment to the task of overcoming negativities through spiritual practices suited to you. It doesn't matter if you feel like a beginner or you're uncertain of how to meditate, for example. You can become enlightened by progress, one step at a time, attracting the right teachers and guides to assist you. You have a precious gift of such a path. It is good karma to have such a path, and it creates further good karma when you pursue it. So I think there's something really beautiful here. You may be seeing a lot of 3s at the moment too, so that may be an extra sign for you. All right, I'll leave you with that. What a beautiful reading. Thank you.